Thanks for coming, guys. Obviously, tough week, rough week. Anytime you play on the road, you got to play your best. You got to play well. I thought we did at times. I thought for about 30 minutes in both the Detroit game and yesterday's game against Wright State, our team really showed some great glimpses of, not only our offense, but I thought more importantly our defense. We were really locked in. Tremendous job at Detroit holding that team to 34 points, and then a tremendous job yesterday. But, at times we show our youth. We also show how hard it is to win on the road. I don't care what league you're in. It's very difficult to win road games, and I think our young group's realizing that. That being said, I think we got a lot to build off of. I think our guys are a very angry team right now. I think they're upset because I think they know the opportunities that were there on the road. So we got to play angry the next couple games here at home. We got to get back in front of our fans. Hopefully the Penguin faithful come out because there's a real opportunity here this week. We're basically playing for third place. If we can take care of business, we got a chance of being third at the end of the week, and I think that's exciting. I think the winner of this league, it's going to be really interesting here down the stretch how many losses win this league. So as I told our guys this morning, we got back late last night. We've battled the roads. We've battled weather. We've battled injuries. We've battled a schedule. And that's really why I got the technical yesterday. I wanted our kids to know that I'm going down fighting with these seniors. That was kind of a statement to, hey, guys, I'm behind you 100%. We're going to go down swinging in this Horizon League.
Can you elaborate on the weather, what you had to deal with?
Well, I'll tell you, we got great bus drivers. The bus service we use, they do a heck of a job. Both individuals, that was high stress, high demand on those roads. 2 severe weather warnings. And we didn't even talk about coming back from Indiana. We've seen it all. To get back the other night late from Detroit in the wee hours, it's been brutal. But it's been brutal on everybody. And it's worse in basketball with these quick turnarounds. 3 games in 6 days on the road. Our poor women's team, they bust from Milwaukee or the Wisconsin area. It's tough. It's draining. It's challenging. We got back the one night and there's piles of ice. It took an hour to get out of here just to get your car. Most of you guys are home in bed. I know you guys probably did your late broadcast, and we're trucking in here to Youngstown at the wee hours. It's been you could write a book on this season, honestly. It's been nuts, but we got to keep fighting.
What do you got to tell your guys, especially through this 3-game losing streak, that there is progress being made?
Well, fans, administrators, the public in general, they judge you on wins and losses. It's a result-driven business. There's no doubt about it. But I really feel the last 2 weeks we're starting to establish a little bit of a culture of understanding, how hard it is to win on the road, a culture of understanding when you do things right, you win. We got to be a little bit tougher, not only physically but mentally in these games on the road. But you battled a Wright State team that I told Coach Nagy. He stopped me through, twice. Not only Coach Nagy but his assistant said, "Man, you guys play so stinking hard." He said, "Your kids really, really fought and clawed for most of that game." You can see it with Scott's group. He really struggled his first year down there at Wright State. Now, boom, in year 2, they're where they need to be. So you just got to keep fighting. You got to keep plugging. You got to get kids to believe. You got to get kids to get better. And just as a group, we got to be just a little bit more selfless. We got to help each other just a little bit more. And I think that's what we're trying to do as a staff. We printed off the league standings and said, "Hey guys, look where you're at. Here's where you're at right now after 6 games. You're right in the thick of things." So you got to keep perspective. And then tonight we got to get away from basketball. I won't. I got to go do this show with Dana tonight, and then we'll watch some tape as a staff. But our kids need to just unwind and get away from it for 24 hours. That's why I kind of like practicing early today. Just it's come in, get our work done, and get our minds off of it a little bit.
Now that you've got some experience against some of the teams that were picked high, but were sitting atop the go differently and that this team can be a factor to win this league down the stretch?
Yeah, well, you've seen it. Every game in the Rising League's been pretty close. There's been very few blowouts. I took a little heat, and the guy, rightfully so, on Twitter said, I said at the time, we can just get into conference play, we'll have a shot. And then the guy blasted me on Twitter. He said, well, I talked about our league being 30 out of 32. 30th best league out of 32 conferences. So I wanted our kids to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Now I think they see it real clear. And the guy blasted me, said, hey, win some non-conference games, and then our strength of schedule and our RPI in this league won't be so bad, which he was 100% right. And that's something we got to do better and change. But I think our kids realize they can play with any team on any given night. It all comes down to defense. It's a shame our defense didn't click a little bit more on the road. But, yeah, I think, every team, you're seeing every team. Every night it's a different style. That's what conference play is about. Every coach handles their team a little bit different, runs some different things. They did a really good job on Cam Morse yesterday. Scott at league meetings, he said, man, I really like that Morse kid. So you knew they were going to come out and really key on him. That freed up Braun a little bit. I thought Jalen Benton offensively played pretty well. But, you got to give Wright State a lot of credit. They're 6-0 because they've made just a few more plays in games. They've been neck and neck with a lot of teams. UIC, team we play here Thursday, battled them to the wire, just like us. Same thing with some of those other teams that have went and played Wright State. But players got to make the plays. Coaches got to put the kids in the right position. There's a lot of basketball left, but at the end of this week, we're down to less than 10 games. So it flies by in basketball, and there's not a ton of prep time in this league with basically playing every other night. We don't have a lot of practice time, which is somewhat frustrating.
You mentioned your team is angry. Are you happy to see that?
Yeah. I think it hurt yesterday. I think it hurt in Detroit. Dane, if you win one of those games, you're right there. So sometimes you got to go through some growing pains in this league to figure it out. And we got to go fighting down for those seniors. We got to scrape, we got to claw to the very end for these kids. Because they don't have any more games. And that's who you're coaching for, and that's who you're playing for right now. I always tease Nas. I said, if you can make layups, you make free throws, you'd be dangerous. But what that kid has is he's got a pair of hands that I haven't seen in a while. He snatches rebounds. He snatches loose balls. If you go really study his game and you study our team, he gets his hands on a lot of balls. I think in year 4 he got to go over and play for Bo at the tight end position, and he'd be a monster. He's a young man that just gives you everything he has. To get 15 rebounds as a freshman in any game, any level, that's a heck of a performance. And he's done it back-to-back games where he's gotten double-doubles. I think he's one of the top 5 freshmen in this league. I think he's a young man. If he continues to develop his skill, and what I mean by that is his passing ability, his ball handling ability, and his shooting ability. Those are 3 areas of basketball you have to be good at. If he can continue to develop that, he's going to be a force. And we knew that. He's went through his struggles scoring around the rim because guys are bigger and more athletic. But he's figured out how to do it, and he's done it really well the last couple weeks. Well, they were picked, John. They were picked 3rd in the league for a reason. Coach McLean, this is not his first rodeo. Steve McLean, he's an interesting guy. He is developing a culture that he wants to establish. He's been a Division I head coach before. He's worked for Tom Crean. I really respect Steve and what he's trying to establish at UIC. He's got athletes. He's got shot blockers. He's got depth. He's got a lot at his disposal. They're a team that's coming in playing very, very good basketball. They've won 3 out of 4. They battled to Oakland to the very end. They're going to scrape. They're going to claw. Dikembe obviously gets a lot of attention because of his upside, because of what he's done, his body of work. He can shoot it. He can drive it. He's got length. He plays with a chip on his shoulder. But, you know, they've got one of the best shot blockers. Maybe he's going to be in the history of the Rising League. So they've got a lot of guys. He plays 10 people. He's going to put a lot of bodies in there. He's going to try to keep them fresh, so we're going to have to adjust to that. Most teams now are playing 7 or 8 players, so we'll have to get in our bench, which I told you last week is getting better. It's going to be a good basketball game. It's going to be a team that we're battling for 3rd or 4th place right now. The next 2 games, you know, we're both 3-3 in the league. IUPUI and UIC, we're neck and neck. For the alumni, we're still working on that. We've gotten a great response. They're going to come in Friday night, have dinner with us, and then Saturday they'll come to shoot around. They'll come to the game. You know, I'm hoping in our first year to get 50 former players. You know, with their guests, it's going to get over between 80 and 100. You know, it's just tough because you got some guys flying in, some guys driving in. You've got to get all your local guys that can make it. But we also understand that they have families. You know, some of them have work. Some of them have different things going on. So in our first year, we don't know what to expect, but we expect year 2, 3, and 4 to be a lot better. But we're excited about those guys getting in here, and we certainly want to go play well for them. But really, we want to see and hear their stories. You know, I think it's so neat to hear about their experience as a player, their experience as a student athlete here at YSU, and just sit around and get to know these guys.